This is Pinsa alla Romana, a Roman dough that's turning heads all over the world. Light, airy, and super digestible, it's quickly becoming a global favorite. Some say it's even set to rival Neapolitan pizza. Let's make it! I've wowed Italians in Italy with this recipe, and I'm sure you'll nail it too. I'll be making 3 kilograms of pinsa dough with 3 types of flour: wheat, rice, and soy. If you have a smaller mixer, you can make the dough with less flour, of course. First, we'll measure out 2,400 grams of type 00 wheat flour. For the rest, we'll use a blend of rice and soy flour, 450 grams of rice flour, and 150 grams of soy flour. We'll mix the flour by hand, then carefully measure the other ingredients. We're going with the 82% hydration. For the water, we will need 2 liters and 460 grams, using both ice and cold water from the fridge. We'll need 21 grams of fresh yeast. That's 7 grams per kilo of flour. 75 grams of salt, and 60 grams of olive oil. We'll start by adding the flour to the mixer, then crumble in the yeast. And pour in 60% of the water and ice mixture. You'll notice this dough looks different from other types of pizza dough because rice flour doesn't have gluten, so the dough will be less elastic and more crumbly. Once the ingredients are mixed, switch to a higher speed and slowly add the remaining water. Add the salt. Pour in the remaining water. And finally add the olive oil. Keep mixing until the dough absorbs the oil. Oil your hands so the dough won't stick, and transfer the dough into the container. Cover it and leave it to sit at room temperature for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, oil your hands again and knead the dough inside the container. Let it sit for another 60-90 minutes at room temperature for additional fermentation. After 90 minutes, transfer the dough to the fridge at 4 to 6 degrees Celsius for at least 48 hours. If you're using premium flour, you can let it ferment for 72 hours, but watch it closely to check if it reached its peak earlier to use it at the right moment. The dough is at its peak when it's fully risen but hasn't started to collapse. If it begins to fall, it's past its prime. Our dough should have small bubbles that are fully inflated. Sprinkle some semolina on the surface, flip the container over, and let the dough gently fall out on its own. Portion the dough into 300-gram balls. Gently roll to the inside to capture additional air and shape them into cylinders. Dust off any excess flour. By layering the dough from the outside to the inside, we shape a dough ball. And transfer them into a floured container. Let the dough rest at room temperature for 3-4 hours, and after that, it's ready for baking. It's time to bake our pinsa. Generously dust the surface with flour. Place the pinsa dough upside down. Sprinkle more flour on it and stretch it gently a little bit. Now gently press the edges to preserve the air inside. We start by pressing the dough with our fingers. It's crucial to have enough flour underneath so your fingers sink into the dough as you press. Put the dough on your hand like this. Shake off any excess flour. Transfer the shaped dough onto a wooden peel and shape it some more on the peel. Drizzle with olive oil and bake it directly on a baking stone or a fire clay at 300 degrees Celsius. Pinsa is always topped after baking, so we'll remove it from the oven when it's about 70–80% cooked, add the toppings, and finish baking. We will make famous carbonara pinsa. We'll top it with a white sauce made from ricotta cheese and cooking cream, lightly salted and peppered. For the second pinsa, we'll use San Marzano tomato sauce as the base. Both pinsas are topped with shredded fior di latte mozzarella. Unlike Neapolitan pizza, where we cut the cheese into cubes, here we're going to grate it so we can spread it more evenly over the dough. On the white pinsa, we'll add pancetta, and on the one with tomatoes, we'll add some pepperoni. Since the dough for pinsa, palla, and teglia is much thicker than for a Neapolitan pizza, it needs to be well loaded with toppings to create the right balance of flavors between the dough and the toppings. When we put it back in the oven, the edges should turn a nice golden yellow. It needs to be crispy and well baked. After finishing the toppings, return the pinsas to the oven at 280 to 300 degrees Celsius for 3 to 4 minutes, until the crusts turn golden brown and crisp. We're baking it slowly to achieve the golden crispiness outside and juicy, feathery taste inside. After baking, top the white pinsa with arugula and cherry tomatoes, and that's it. Our pinsas are ready to serve. Want to learn the method I've taught to hundreds of students, including pros? Check out my full pizza making course in the description. We cover 5 foundation doughs that every serious pizza lover should know.